The story of Destiny is unlike any that Bungie has ever done previously. Upon completing the story missions, a player might be confused as to what the storyline is. In the first few weeks of being released, Destiny received both praise and scrutiny for its story, or lack of story. Many have argued that Destiny is heavily lacking by way of presenting a linear story. The negative consensus is that there is no beginning, middle, or end. The positive reviews will claim that the game released at launch is simply the first chapter of a very long and dynamic book. In a sense, both sides agree that there is not a whole lot of exposition throughout the story missions of the game. Any argument only seems to be whether or not it's okay or acceptable that this is the case. And funnily enough, those who do scrutinize the game's story still can't help but play the game. So which side are you on? Let this overview help you choose whether or not the story of Destiny is satisfying to your tastes. The story of Destiny is presented as one that you create, and each individual mission is like a story within itself. It is simply a palette for Guardians to adventure and explore. The experiences you have on each planet you visit builds toward what is arguably a main storyline, which is focused on finding a location called the Black Garden. But much of what you experience in the story missions are like mini-adventures that constitute your large adventure as a whole. You end up with many stories that parallel the one main narrative. Upon starting the game, you are given this explanatory cinematic where you learn about the Traveler and how it enabled us to colonize the solar system. It brought what is called the Golden Age. This period of time lasted for centuries, but it was eventually followed by the collapse, when ancient enemies of the Traveler called the Darkness arrived. As its last great act, the Traveler sacrificed itself in turning back the enemies of the Darkness. When the game actually begins, you find yourself in old Russia, brought back to life by a ghost. This one has chosen you to become a guardian of humanity and of the last safe city on Earth. After obtaining a ship, you fly to the tower, located in this last safe city. This is where you meet the Speaker. He gives you the personal charge to push back the darkness as it advances once more.
There was a time when we were much more powerful. But that was long ago. Until it wakes and finds its voice, I am the one who speaks for the Traveler. You must have no end of questions, Guardian. I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago, how the Traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the darkness, its ancient enemy. No. The darkness is coming back. We will not survive it this time.
What can I do?
You must push back the darkness.
Now your adventure begins. It starts on Earth. On Earth, you find a warp drive which allows you to travel between planets later on in the game. You stick around on Earth to investigate why an enemy race called the Fallen are so interested in an old Russian cosmodrome. In your investigations, you discover a war mind, or an artificial intelligence built to defend Earth during the collapse. This war mind, named Rasputin, you find, has access to interplanetary defenses across the solar system, which could obviously be very helpful in the war against the darkness. He refuses to communicate with you, so you're left hanging with how to solve that problem. Along your explorations on Earth, you also defeat a Fallen Archon, open communication with other colonies in the solar system, and kill a machine god of the Fallen called Sepix Prime. You also find that the decrepit race called the Hive are advancing on Earth. We gave up the moon so the Hive would leave us alone, so it's time to discover why they are pushing their bounds, which is why we find ourselves traveling to the moon. The moon is a planet full of several small adventures. You discover that for some reason, the Hive have turned their will against Earth again. You find the world's grave, which is a digital collection of everything the Hive have known and seen, which is a lot due to their ancient past. You destroy a dark weapon, the Sword of Crota, weakening the power the Hive holds on the moon. You interrupt a Hive ritual where they were draining light from the Traveler through one of its shards. And lastly, you destroy a Shrine of Oryx, which serves as an uplink to the Hive deity located somewhere on the edge of the solar system. Above all on the moon, you're observed by an elusive stranger who's intrigued by your skill. This stranger offers an invitation.
Guardian, I know what you're about to do. It's brave. But there are enemies out here you would not believe.
Out where?
Go down and face the Hive. And if you live, come find me.
The coordinates she gives brings us to our next destination, Venus. On Venus, you meet and converse with the stranger and learn of the Vex. This is where you discover your biggest and most immediate priority.
Have you heard of the Black Garden?
We've heard the legends.
The greatest threat to us all lies there, where these machines are born. Find the Black Garden. Rip out its heart. Only then will your traveler begin to heal.
Can you help us find it?
My path's my own. I can't.
If we're going to find the Black Garden, we need to see the Awoken.
Ah, yes. The Awoken. Out there wavering between the light and the dark.
You travel to the reef, discovering more mysteries about the Awoken, and you meet their queen. You petition for their help in destroying the heart of the Black Garden, and they decide to help us, although they appear to be hiding an ulterior motive. You set off to follow instructions, and obtain the head of a Vex Gate Lord in exchange for a key to the garden. Upon returning, the Awoken extract the key from the head of the Gate Lord and discover it's broken. We're put in the debt of the Queen by her telling us the location of the garden despite the broken key. It is now up to us to find a way in, now that we know its location, on Mars. Among all of this, on Venus you kill a fallen Kel or a master of one of their political or noble houses. You free the Archive, a research station full of information on the Vex, and lastly you defeat Axor, an Archon priest, and Sekrion, a Nexus Mind. Your journey has now taken you to Mars, where you break through an exclusion zone set up by an alien military race called the Cabal. You also meet Rasputin once again. He has taken over Clovis Bray, a center for scientific advancement, interplanetary defenses, AI development, and research on the Traveler. Access to it would unlock countless secrets, but once again, your friend Rasputin denies you access. Ultimately, on Mars, your goal is to get into the Black Garden through a Vex gate guarded heavily by the Cabal. Your ghost locates a Vex spire which charges the broken gate key. This allows us access through the gate. After fighting through Vex and Cabal, you make it through the gate and fight your way to the garden, where you ensue in an epic final battle, destroying its heart. Your ghost proclaims that a shroud of darkness is lifted from the Traveler, finally letting light begin to return to the Traveler. The tower celebrates as the stranger shares caution that the fight is not finished.
It's a day for pretty speeches and medals. But we know the real fight takes place out there. Take this. There's so much more, Guardian. I've seen terrible things born out in the darkness. Every moment brings them closer. All ends are beginnings. Our fight is far from over.
The story has just begun. The adventures you have with your Guardian will seed much larger stories that will uncover countless secrets prevalent within the world of Destiny. How will we earn Rasputin's trust? What will happen to the House of Winter now that it has no Kel? What will the Queen require of us? What is the Awoken's ulterior motive as we destroy the heart of the Black Garden? What else needs to be done to heal the Traveler? These unanswered questions will no doubt keep us all playing. The question is it enough of a story to be considered a real storyline? Either way, we can be sure that Bungie will answer the call for more story, as they have a history of being prompt and responsive to their community's requests, and this is no doubt one of the largest they have had. This has been Planet Destiny with The Story So Far.